Hi, Nathan here from the photography team. Ben's behind the camera, just filmed with an iPhone 6S today. You join us in a small studio flat in Norwich that we are currently photographing. As you know, we do property shoots. Just wanted to run through the settings that we use on our Fuji X-T2s for these purposes. Obviously we use the Fuji 10-24mm f4 lens, which is the widest angle lens that they do for the X-T2. We use a tripod obviously so we can have a steady shot, and we use bracketing. The settings on the camera will be ISO 200, which is the lowest native ISO for this camera, and then we'll just use an automatic shutter, and for purposes today maybe f8 on the lens. So if you want to come around to the camera side, I'll show you what other settings we use. Now what we do is we take bracketed shots, which means it will take 3 images, one at normal exposure, one above the exposure, and one below the exposure, which we then bracket together to give a shot that will show good detail in highlights and shadows. Now to get to this option on the X-T2, you'll just switch your drive setting through to bracketing. This is just a little preview of what we're getting in this room at the moment. If we go to the menu settings, and then we go into the drive settings, you've got bracketing setting. Now this is the auto exposure bracketing that we're going to be using, because obviously the exposure is going to be automatically detected by the camera. Now you've got certain options with this. Now I've chosen +2, which means that it's going to take an image at the correct exposure, or what the camera thinks is the correct exposure. Then it'll take a image which is 2 stops overexposed, and then two stops underexposed. We will then bracket those together in the computer, giving us an image that we will obviously show you shortly. Also, we use a self timer of 2 seconds. If you want to come here, Ben, I'll show you where that setting is. So if we go into the shooting setting menu, we can go across to self timer. We've got a 2-second timer or a 10-second timer. We have actually found that this setting, when the camera goes into sleep mode, or if you turn the camera off, it doesn't remember that you're in the self timer mode. So if you do turn your camera off, you'll have to make sure you turn this back on again. So we're just using a 2-second timer. So let's focus. There we go. I'm actually focusing on the white walls, which struggled there, but when I press the shutter, you get the 2-second countdown. Then it takes the 3 shots. If you come across to the camera again, and if we look at the last 3 shots, so this is a shot that is 2 stops underexposed. This is the shot that is 2 stops overexposed, and then this is the shot that is correctly exposed. We will bracket those together in the computer and show you the result. I was just going to, while we're here, was quickly pop a flash onto the camera and just do a comparison with an image taken with a flash compared to the bracketing mode. Okay, so now I've popped a Nissin i60 flash onto the camera. We just want to do that quick comparison. I've changed my ISO back to 400, just so the flash doesn't have to struggle as much, and I've put the drive setting back on single shot. Now as you see, I've got the exposure preview on the screen. What I've done is I've exposed for the window because I want that detail in the window, and then I want the flash to illuminate the rest of the room. So the flash is on TTL, we'll just let that do its own thing. So again, I've got it on the timer because I don't want any camera set to shake. And I've chosen a shutter speed of 125th of a second, and I'm still on f8. And that's the image that we've got. Just looking at it now, it's not as nice as what you're going to get from bracketing images. You can see in the room just off to the right that it's dark in there because the flash obviously hasn't made its way into that room. What we'll do is we'll get that one into the computer as well, and we'll do some edits, and we'll compare the both with you. So we've obviously uploaded the files into Lightroom that we took today at this property shoot. This is the image that we showed you, the bracketing image. The bracketed image. This is, if we look at the exposure here, this is the shot that was at the correct exposure. The next one is two stops overexposed, and then the final image is 2 stops underexposed. Now in Lightroom, what we do is if we highlight all 3 images, so if we hold the command button, we can then select each image in turn. Okay, so once all the images are selected, we'll right click on the images, we'll go photo merge, and then we'll click HDR. And what this will do is it will merge all 3 images into a preview. I've got auto align selected so that if for whatever reason there was one shot that was slightly not aligned with the previous image, it will try to auto align those. An auto tone, it will give me an automatic preview of what it thinks it should be exposed like. Okay, so there's the preview of what Lightroom thinks it should be exposed like. Nice little image there. What we'll do now is we'll click merge, and then what it'll do is it will merge those 3 images. It'll produce a DNG file, which then allows us to still have some leeway on changing the shadows, highlights, whites, blacks, etc. So we'll just wait for that to merge together. You can see in the upper left hand corner that it's doing that now. Now it does actually take some time with the Fuji X-T2 because we were shooting in RAW, so it's obviously 3 RAW files that it has to merge together. This is just an image of the front of the property that was taken. So hopefully shortly that will be merged, and then we can show you that image. Okay, so that's now merged together. So if we go to the end of our images, there's the image that we just merged together. So as you can see, there's still some detail in the highlights in the windows. There's good detail in the shadow areas. Now we still have some movability with this. As you'll see here, it has actually edited the image how it thinks it should be edited, but I'm going to just add a little bit of contrast. I might just bring the exposure up a little bit more. If I use the white drop balance tool, I know the ceiling was white, so if I was to click on the ceiling, that would then give me a more of a balanced image. Now there is some blue coming in, so I will just, using the temperature slider, just bring that up a little bit more to about there. We're just doing a quick edit now. I'll add some clarity, maybe a little bit of vibrance. I'll go into the detail tab, I'll add a little bit of noise reduction, a little bit more sharpening. Transform tool. Now I could straighten this, so if we bring a reference point to this here, and then maybe on this here, another part of the image that should be straight, that will then boom, straighten that up. I'm not going to do any more to that. That's just a quick edit of that image. Now, so here's the image that we took with the flash. So let's do a similar edit to that one. First of all, white balance. Let's hit the ceiling. There we go. And then we can maybe just warm it up a little bit. Obviously, we can bring out some shadow detail. Let's drop the highlights. Got quite a highlight in this piece of window here that would be a pain to edit out. Let's bring the whites down a little bit of contrast, some clarity, some vibrance. We will add some noise reduction again, maybe a little bit more sharpening. And then we'll go into our transform tab again. We'll use the tool here, so we'll get this door frame. We'll say yes, we want that to be vertical. And then we'll use this other
piece of the wall that we want to be vertical. So that's straightened the image up. Again, that's just a basic edit, but as you'll see, we've got a big highlight here, which was from the flash. I mean, this was just a quick comparison. We could have angled the flash maybe to the back wall and bounced it in to the room, but I just wanted to show you the comparison. So if I was to highlight that image, and let's select the last image, we'll go into the library module. Okay, so we're now in the library mode and library panel, and just comparing the two images. On the left is the image that was taken with the Nissin i60 flash, and on the right is the picture of the image that was bracketed. Now, also, as you can see with the bracketed image, we've got more detail in the shadows, which would be in this bedroom. As you can see with the one with the flash, it couldn't make it into the bedroom, so that's dark. We've got some lovely detail in the window, which is the highlights through this window. All in all, nice little image. We can see the lights on the ceiling. And again, when we look at the one on the left, which was taken with a flash, yes, we have a nice view outside, because that is what I exposed on the outside. Just the shadows behind here. Shadows created by the legs of the table, the big hot spot in the top here, the big reflection in the glass here. In our opinion, we prefer to do the bracketed images. There are people that do use flashes. Yes, you could take some more time and get this one on the left to be a little bit better with better flash placement. And again, on the image on the right, I will probably do a little bit more editing to that before we send it out to our clients. But that was just a quick comparison of using bracketed images versus flash image on the Fuji X-T2 for property photography.
Obviously, if you need any property photography shoots done in Norwich, give us a shout. And don't forget to subscribe to us. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, all under the photography team. And please like and comment. Thank you for watching. My name's Nathan. Ben's behind the camera, and we're the photography team.